Today we will look at using a set of standard Unix command line tools to analyze data. Let's look at the first tool, cat, which we can use to concatenate and print files. Let's look at the contents of an example file. We see that the example file contains 3 columns: a custom number, a country, and a service that was purchased. You may have noticed that I used the command head to display the first lines of a file. That can come in handy if you don't want to look at the entire contents. Another way to limit what you see is to use the cut command to limit the number of columns that you look at. Here I use it to look at the first column of the file. You may notice that I'm using the D option with a comma, and this is because it is a comma-separated file that I'm looking at. As always, you can look at the command's man page to find out more options that might be relevant for you. To continue the example from before, change the F parameter to 2 to look at the second column and 3 to look at the third column. Now let's look at sorting. Here we sort the first column, which is the customer number. The man page for sort will give you options such as reversing the sorting and also sorting numerically rather than alphanumerically. We will use these features shortly. You may have noticed that the sorted output contains duplicates. This is because each customer may have more than one service that they have purchased. However, don't be alarmed by this. There's a command for it called uniq. You'll see that it has removed all duplicates, but it only works for consecutive identical items, which is why we have the sorting step in front of it. The man page for uniq explains in greater detail how this works. Until now, we haven't really been doing anything useful, but let's fix this by adding one more piece, a word count. What this string of commands does is count the unique number of customers in our file. What we see is that there are 69 different customers. Since this example is a little more elaborate, let's break it down to see what's going on. First, we're using the cut command on the customer file, and we are selecting the first column since that's where the customer ID is found. Next, we are using the sort command to sort the customer numbers and uniq to deduplicate them. Finally, we're using word count with the L flag to count the number of unique lines, which equals the number of unique customers. The word count command can do more than just count lines. It can also count characters and bytes in the stream. Word count just gives us an overall count, but what if we want to count how many times each product has been purchased? We can do this with the uniq-c command. The product name is in column 3, so we will use cut-f3 to isolate this column. Next, we will use the trick from before, where we use sort followed by uniq to deduplicate the product names. But this time we will use a special trick. We will use a -c flag to additionally output a count, which tells us how many lines were deduplicated for each deduplication group, which corresponds to the number of times each product appears in our file. To find the most popular product, we can add a reverse sorting step. This will list the products in order of decreasing frequency. At this point, we can easily isolate the most frequent product, or say the third most frequent product, using a combination of head and tail. If you followed along and understood everything, feel free to add +1 to your Linux and Bash foo right now. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and hope to see you back.